Monash University Publishing presents The Big Teal, written and read by Simon Holmes and in the National Interest Series title. The Big Teal. I wasn't there at the beginning. The community independence movement started long before I got involved, built by literally thousands of people. Many have put more blood, sweat and tears into the movement than me, but will never receive any public recognition, nor do they seek it. It's not centrally coordinated, not run from the top. There's no one to oversee public relations or branding. There's no rulebook, no franchisor, no leadership. Most in the media and political class still don't understand it, either because they can only see the world through an outdated two-party frame, or because it suits their purposes to misrepresent it. Over the 8 months between the launch of Kylie Tink's campaign in September 2021 through to the federal election on 21st of May 2022, the media struggled to apply a label. More often than not, the movement was overlooked and the focus was on the candidates, devoid of context. Initially, they were labelled voices of candidates, which is mostly not actually true. Most candidates were entirely independent of local voices of groups. News Corp and the Liberal Party labelled them so-called independents or fake independents, which was insulting but also counterproductive for the accusers. Too often they were labelled Climate 200 candidates, which they're not, and some even went as far as tagging them Simon Holmes puppets, an ultimately futile attempt to demean and diminish the capable women who had put themselves forward for election. Just 4 weeks out from the poll, many in the media settled on a term that became dominant: the teals. For some, this refers to the colour the community candidates ran under, although I don't think any adopted teal for their branding, but rather orange, coral, blue, green, turquoise, purple, yellow, pink, aqua, navy, peach, olive and burgundy. Others claim that teal refers to a mix of blue and green, representing a blend of centre-right and environmental values. Imperfect, but not entirely wrong. More than a few in the movement are uncomfortable with the teal label, arguing that the grouping erases individual differences. Others see no problem with it. As for journalists, a few have explained to me that their job requires a short adjectival phrase and community independence is too much of a mouthful. A political commentator reminded me that almost all political movements have been strongly associated with a colour: blue for conservatism, green for environmentalism, grey for senior citizens, purple for feminism, black for anarchism, brown for fascism, and that teal is a perfectly okay colour, unburdened by negative associations. I've asked a few independent MPs what they think. None are fazed by the label, and none felt it was a hill they'd die on. I'd say there's a general agreement that it's a fine, if accidental, brand. No doubt I'll upset a few friends in the movement, but for now I'll be using the term teal interchangeably with community independent. Independents aren't new, but in recent generations they have been rare, with only 14 elected to the House of Representatives between the end of World War II and 2013. However, in the 9 years from the election of Cathy McGowan in 2013, Australians have elected 11 independents to the House, plus 2 to the Senate. What's new and critically important about the emergence of the teals is that this isn't about political aspirants putting themselves forward, but rather already successful Australians being tapped on the shoulder by their communities. The community independents, the teals, were the biggest story of the 2022 federal election. They represent arguably the biggest change in Australian politics over the past generation, and they mark a new era in our politics. This is my perspective on what just happened. I speak here about my place and that of Climate 200 in a vast, decentralised and highly dynamic movement. At the Auburn. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Sorry, what? The Treasurer wants you to leave now. Okay, can I just finish my glass of wine first? My friend Fiona pleaded, either audibly or with her eyes, I can't remember which. Please don't make a scene. She needn't have worried. I'm too much of an introvert. Seconds later, I was alone on the footpath, glass of red wine still in my hand, contemplating how strange it all was. A parent at Fiona's son's school had decided to host a Meet the Candidate event for Josh Frydenberg just weeks before the May.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?